Welcome back to Sister Brunch, the podcast all about Black women and gender expansive people thriving in entertainment and media. I am your host, Fanshen Cox. Sister Brunch traveled to New Orleans for the Essence Film Festival this summer, where we had the amazing opportunity to interview incredibly talented filmmakers and writers and actors about their craft. In these next few episodes, you'll be hearing our conversations live from the Essence Film Festival's Filmmaker Lounge. Hey everyone, this is Fanshen Cox. I'm the founder of Trugelo. Trugelo stands for Truth, Justice, and Love. We uplift stories that speak truth in pursuit of justice and service of love. And one of our productions is the Sister Brunch podcast. Sister Brunch is all about Black women and gender expansive people who are thriving in entertainment and media. And I gotta tell you a little story about how we got started, because that's how we grabbed this amazing guest here at the Essence Film Festival. So actually, I'll have you, why not? So this is Lila Mayes, and we are thrilled to have you because Lila Mayes is an OG Sister Brunch, Sister Bruncher, part of the Sister Brunch family. So welcome, Lila Mayes.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I was so excited to see that Sister Brunch was here. So I am connected to one of the OG Sister Brunch, Anya Adams.
Yes.
So I'm the program administrator of the DGA's Assistant Director Training Program. Anya is one of my trustees who was actually a graduate of the program.
Yes.
And now doing big things.
Yes,
directing
she is.
And all kinds
Should we
of things.
name some of the things that this? So this is our co-host Anya. If you listen to seasons 1 through 4 or 1 through 3, you will hear her on all of our seasons. And she was hosting the Sister Brunches.
Yes.
But some of the things she's doing right now, The Expanse. She just did her first feature on Disney Plus.
I don't want to name some things that may not be out there yet, but I'll go back
Prom
to some old
Pact, we can
things.
say, okay.
So I know she did like some episodes on Blackish, and like that's where she started directing. So it's not typical that ADs go into the director space, but Anya's such a amazing human being that's what she did.
She really is, and you can hear her story on our first season, and then we interviewed her. We brought her back again once she was too busy to be host with us, which is a beautiful thing. It's exactly what we want at Sister Brunch, right? Is to get so busy that you can't actually work on the podcast. But yeah, so she started off in the DGA Training Program. And then, so were you one of the women who said, you know what, we need to get together on the weekends also and do a Sister Brunch?
I came in much later.
Okay.
I came in much later.
Okay.
But thrilled to be here. So I came in, actually, I missed all of Anya's, but I have to admit, she's such a huge part of my experience in the training program, and then all these other experiences outside of the training program, including Sister Brunch. So when I came in, she was already one of my trustees, and has really, really empowered me to just really lean into my natural gifts. And one of them is mentoring young people, young women specifically. It's really hugely important to me to pull up our young girls who are, coming behind us.
Have you had an opportunity to meet Dr. Jamaica Anderson
of course,
and Sierra Davis?
I just did a panel with Dr. Jamaica.
Black Girls Film Camp, speaking of uplifting these young girls and being models for them. It's so good.
I love that. They are starting with such young ladies.
I know. Wouldn't it have been nice to have that one?
And I say all the time, I want to start recruiting with younger people, because there were things that I was doing when I was 13 that I didn't know would support what I'm doing now.
Speak on that. Okay, so, I want to get back to that. First of all, now I would love for you to just tell us who you are and how you got to this position. But then we will talk about that transition, because a lot of times we think the thing that we're doing doesn't translate. And we're like, there's so many things that we're doing out in the world that could translate very easily. But we'll get to that. So, Ms. Lila Mayes, how did you get to Essence? Where were you born? What day were you born? All of that.
I am from a little town in Texas, but by way of Los Angeles. So I'm in LA now, right? I've been in LA really all of my life.
Okay.
My background is hugely human resources and live events.
Interesting.
Such an interesting sort of hybrid experience, background, but that's what it is. So I worked for the Recording Academy for years and years in human resources, did a bunch of live events. When I left there, this opportunity at the DGA's training program opened up for me, and I became the program administrator. I've been there since 2017 now. And when I took the seat, it was very, very important to me to do targeted recruiting for people of color and,
unfortunately,
get the
with this
information
Supreme
out.
Court decision now, we might have to be a little careful. But you know what? We will still, we can talk about inclusive hiring.
Absolutely. I mean,
making sure that we see ourselves, right?
Yes. Inclusivity is not going to go away.
We will not let it go away.
It's not going away. But it's really, really important to me that we share information about the kind of program that I manage. So now I'm managing this program, an amazing 400-day program that teaches people how to be assistant directors in real time on real TV and film sets, and they're paid by the production.
Amazing. And so we have to go back to Anya because she's a perfect example of what this program can do.
Absolutely.
I love that when Anya was with us on season 4, she was saying that she didn't say to the world that she wanted to be a director. She said she wanted to be a casting director. And she gave advice saying, don't ever do that. Say the thing that you want to do. And the DGA training program was the thing that helped her understand that. Talk to us about what you would do during those 400 hours, and then what is the goal of that?
Okay, so it's 400 days.
I'm sorry.
No, I know.
That's right. There's a huge difference. That's a year and a half.
But you know what? But so to that point, 400 days, they aren't consecutive. Okay. So 400 days could take easily 3 years. Usually our folks graduate between 2.5 to 3 years. So it's 400 non-consecutive days because strikes.
Right, like we're in right now.
Pandemics, like those kinds of things happen. Shows go on hiatus, et cetera, et cetera. And what happens is, so we'll place anything you're watching, streaming, however you're consuming. We either have a trainee on the program or we have a graduate from our program.
Amazing.
Honestly. So we place those folks on these shows, and they do like rotations. So maybe they'll do a 50-day rotation on Abbott Elementary, and then they get done there, and they'll go over to, I don't know, The Mandalorian, right? They're working on all these amazing shows. Wow. But while they're working, they're actually working with the AD team that's in place. So there's a second AD, there's a first AD, there's sometimes a second AD, and our trainee is working with those ADs in getting folks where they need to be. They're getting them to their trailers, they're getting them to hair and makeup, they're getting them to set on time, they're making sure they get all the paperwork done. They do all the things, right? They're making sure people stay safe, on time, and on budget. That's how they facilitate the creative process.
I love it. And I love, for our young listeners or listeners who are outside of the industry, when I first heard AD, I was like, oh, it's the assistant to the director. Right. The director, they go get coffee, the director. No. Right? The first AD essentially runs the set, runs the production.
They're the logistics manager, right?
It's extremely important.
The information hub, the logistics manager, they are managing all the things behind the scenes.
So for the trainees during those 400 days, I guess, what would their jobs look like?
So they might be running base camp, and so base camp is the hub, right, where all the trailers are, so they're getting people where they need to be. They may be running base camp. They might be on set where they actually are supporting the director in real time by calling action, rolling, cut, all of that, placing background, managing the background, holding area, making sure that those folks are breaking for lunch on time, making sure they get their vouchers so they get paid at the end of the day. We're really trying to make sure they get a real well-rounded experience in all things assistant directing.
Amazing. And we will just say there are not enough Black women, gender-expansive people doing these roles, especially in the best of ways. There's so much content now, right? There's so many Black folks making content, and it would be really nice. We know that we would like to see ourselves
Yes.
in all of the positions as
Yes.
we're making our projects. And
Right.
so talk about how the competitive nature of getting into the DGA training program and
yes.
what can women and girls do to prepare.
Okay, so that's a really good point. It is super competitive.
Yeah.
Out of hundreds of applications, so we're still in our application process from last year. We've been delayed a little bit because of things happening in the industry. So we usually have, I'll say maybe 600 applicants.
Ooh.
We only take about 10 to 12 people a year.
Ouch.
Super competitive.
Yes.
So I said this on the panel earlier, following instructions is hugely important.
Okay.
Because as an assistant director, the attention to detail is supreme,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Making sure things are written the way they're supposed to could cost productions thousands and thousands of dollars, right?
Absolutely.
So our application is sort of
Shows that you
made that
would
way.
be able to do that. Okay.
Right, so
okay.
paying attention and following instructions is hugely important. But really showing us a demonstrated interest in below the line production. Like, you know, if you apply to this program and tell us, I want to be a writer, I want to be a filmmaker, that's great, fantastic.
This is not for
but
you.
how does that serve us
Right.
when we are trying to provide amazing assistant directors
Yes,
into the
yes.
program, so into the industry? So letting us know that you have a real understanding of the job of an AD. And there are ways to do that. You can do research, you can Google, you can be a production assistant and have
Absolutely.
some experience watching the work, right?
Yes.
So letting us know that you have an understanding of what the
Okay.
job is hugely important. I can't
Okay.
give away too many secrets.
Okay, but
that's really,
okay.
really important to
Okay,
us.
okay, that is so good to know. So and especially now, I mean, you know, we're carrying a studio in
Yes.
our pockets,
Right,
so
right.
you can if you're creating your own content, you're doing some of that already. But you can watch YouTube videos,
Right.
create content with people, but do it on a higher level.
Sure.
You know, raise your standards to know that they think about a budget, right?
Right.
Plan things ahead.
Right.
And if you're doing that, you're getting that kind of experience.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have some standard questions that we ask
Okay.
at the Sister Brunch podcast.
Yes.
And again, so the story is that the Black women and women of color that were mentors in the trainee program,
yes.
they knew that the Black women and women of color in the program would need a little extra boost and time together outside of being in the trainee
nice,
program.
yes.
So they said, let's do sister brunches. And so they would get together and talk the real talk,
Yes.
because there's only so much you can say
Yes.
on set. So
Okay.
that's why we call this Sister Brunch. And so our signature question at Sister Brunch is, you are sitting down to a Sister Brunch with your younger self.
Yes.
What are you eating and what is she eating? What are you drinking and what is she drinking? And then what do you tell her?
Okay, so I am eating,
Anything you want.
I'm eating a shrimp po' boy.
Wow, I thought you were going to say shrimp and grits because that has been the #1 response all weekend. Okay, but that, yes.
I'm eating a shrimp po' boy.
Oh, nice.
Younger me is eating the cafeteria coffee cake.
Oh, yeah, still good. It's still
So
good. It's
good.
so good, but we can't
I can
always
taste
do
it.
It's yes.
Okay, so that's what younger me is eating.
Okay, and drinking?
I'm drinking champagne.
Nice.
Or Prosecco.
Nice.
She's probably drinking water. Yeah.
Good for her. Good for her.
And what I would say to her is all of these things that you love, like cooking and acting and using your voice in front of people, is going to support you as a grown woman. So lean into it. And don't let anybody tell you that that's silly. That's not a career. That's not going to lead to like a career that you want. That's not going to lead you to, so many people told me, you should study this, you should study that. And I really wanted to do some really creative things. But I didn't see how that was going to land me here at Essence. I just didn't even envision that.
And here you are.
Here I am.
And here you are not only doing what you wanted to do, but also helping other women. And I know there are other DGA trainees, but we talk about the black women in the program, right? That you are here to help teach those women, nurture them for a long career as first ADs. We're so grateful for you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
We're so glad. Yes, yes.
Thank you so much.